Yeah, let's go back to back.
We've heard a little from James. I think we saw a video of James after a game last year at Nebraska talk about his relationship with you. I guess, what is your perspective on what that, and how much excited are you to get to keep coaching him even at a new school?
You know, that was the Rutgers game, and that last possession of the game, he literally had a sack every play. And it was just a lot of emotions because just what he went through, you know, in his personal life, how much I've been involved in it, how much he's won at that moment. And it was happy tears, and I was just so happy for him. Even when he came here, it was his first time on scholarship. And when I called him, I was like, hey, come to Florida State. Like, we were on the phone in tears because he comes from nothing. His family, parted ways with him in the middle of college, so he was just, he didn't have family, he didn't have that, and our relationship became really close, and that's what college football is about. That's what it's about as a coach, and I'm excited about it, and he knows that now that we're family, I can coach him a little bit harder now. So, like I said, I'm excited about James, and he's a guy that he still has a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove that he's the best edge rusher in the country, and he's working towards it.
Do you feel like, with all of those challenges that he's overcame, and you mentioned you guys are crying on the phone with the scholarship, is it almost a freeing feeling for him to allow him to pursue that, like you said, kind of like, I want to show him the best edge rusher in the country, I've taken the steps, now all I got to do is do it. Do you feel like he has that mentality right now?
Right now, yes, but when everything happened is like personal-wise, he didn't know how to respond to it. So when you talk to James, and he always says, like, I was broken, I didn't know what to do, like, he was lost. He was showing up late to things, and I just stuck with him, and we developed a real bond, like a real father-son bond, and, to this day, man, we just have a special relationship, and he'll never be able to get rid of me. So we're locked in, and he calls my fiance mom, he calls me dad, so he has a special place in my heart, always will. So I'm happy for him, and he's happy, he's smiling all the time, and the past 2 years before this, he was always moping and had his headphones on, but he's doing a great job leading the freshmen, and like I said, he can finish my sentences when I talk and when I'm coaching, so the guys, they usually gravitate towards that, like, hey, where's Coach Knight going from this or this, so he's an extension of me.
We talked to you, I think, right after Darrell announced he was coming back, and you talked about that maybe being the biggest transfer portal pickup of all or something like that.
For sure.
We've heard a lot about how aggressively he's attacked this offseason. I guess what's been your perspective on just the impact he's made in tour duty, in the weight room, all that?
When you got guys like that who could have went to NFL and got drafted, you worry sometimes, like, when they come back, if they're going to be worried about themselves, or do they want to be a leader? Are they only focused on their skill set or their process? But he's been great. He's been leading the young group. He's been pushing the group. He's been working hard. He's been an example in that set. So, like I said, me personally, watching the D tackles around the country and watching him play last year, he should be the first D tackle taken off the board in the draft next year. So that's the standard that I have for him. That's the standard that he has for himself, and so far so good. Thank you.
It seemed like the freshman defensive lineman that you have coming in put in some really good work during the offseason condition and tour of duty.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from those guys so far, especially
they've been working hard.
Kevin Wynn.
Well, yeah, they've been working hard, doing what you gotta do.
I
don't give freshmen compliments. Not yet. Especially this group I got. They give me a hard time, so yeah, they're doing a good job. But no, those young guys, they work hard. They have good leadership in front of them. And I tell them all the time, like, hey, somebody in this freshman group we're dependent on you. It could be 2, it could be 3 of you guys that we're going to need you this year, but those guys have been doing a good job picking up the playbook, working really hard. Tour duty, has been, it's been tough for them, right? Because those guys should be getting ready for prom, right? But they're doing tour duty, so it's been an adjustment for them. But we have a good time. We have big personalities in our room, and they work really hard. So it's been great.
As far as the guys who are coming back to Florida State, how are they adjusting to having a new voice at the head of the room?
It's my job to get those guys ready to play, but it's their room, right? So I'll ultimately tell them, like, hey, however you guys want this year to go, it depends on the D-line. and that's any team. So, you know, those guys have understood that, hey, if we want to be successful and do what we have to do, then it's on us. And those guys they've taken that head on, and you know, it's just my job to keep pushing them beyond where they think they can be pushed, and they've responded very well to it.
And I know you talked about James Williams a good bit. You know, he stood out last year in those pass rushing numbers, getting after the quarterback. What does he have to do now at Florida State to become an every down player?
Well, he's put on 20 pounds. He looks great. His mind is right. He's getting stronger, and that's all he needed was the confidence to do it. That's the type of kid James is. Like, if you tell him he can't do it, he'll go out and try to prove it. But when he steps on the scale every morning now, sees 265, he walks around like he's 300 pounds. So that's all he needed was the confidence to do it. He's a great young man.